Trump is the closest thing to God.
Trump is the closest thing to God, really?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you believe that Trump is picked by God?
I believe so. I believe that Trump is blessed by God. I believe that Trump has come from blessed parents. His parents worked for what they had. His parents made him, molded him to become the person that he is.
But so Trump is selling Bibles for $60.
Okay.
Is that he's profiting off of selling Bibles? Is that a godly thing to do?
Is it a godly thing for the Democrats to be okay with killing their babies? Is that okay?
I guess you answered my question with another question.
Okay.
Just answer this question. Is it a godly thing to do for Trump to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a business. He's a businessman. That's what this country needs. What do we need? What are churches doing? When you go to church, don't they ask you for $1? Don't they ask you to do this and that? Churches are businesses. This whole country's a business. Trump is the closest thing to God.
Maria Hernandez was deported on Tuesday after ICE raided her Miami.
We are getting screwed. Whether you're a little more conservative or a little more progressive, we're all getting screwed. None of us can afford groceries. None of us can afford gas. None of us can afford health care. The billionaires buying the system, buying politicians like Ken Paxton, they don't care who you are. They don't care about your politics. They only care about their profits. They don't see us as Democrats and Republicans. They don't see red or blue. They only see green. They see us as people to rip off. They see us as one opposing team, so we might as well start acting like one. It's time. It's time for us to come together across these manufactured divisions to take on the people at the top who have been screwing us over for far too long. Because the real fight in this country is not left versus right. It's top versus bottom. That is the movement that we are building here in Texas. This is not a politics of fear. This is not a politics of division. This is a politics of unity, a politics of friendship, a politics of love. This new kind of politics can change our state. It can change our country. This new kind of politics can build a new American dream.
I really don't understand tariffs. Honestly, I just know they f***ed us up.
All we heard was drill, drill, drill during the election, and now all we're getting is drilled into the dirt with these prices.
If you could talk to President Trump directly right now, what would you tell him?
Should you want me to really say it on air? I say, F*** you. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to any leader, but he's disrespectful to us, and he doesn't care.
I'm a Republican.
Well, this should be interesting.
I'm asking everybody, Republican, of course, Democrat, and independents to vote blue. We got to do something. Prices of everything has went up, and he said he was going to bring prices down. He lied. We just can't afford any more high prices.
Did you just say the word afford? Because I thought he said
affordability is a hoax.
So guys, vote blue midterms. Republicans, vote blue. Democrats, I'm sure you will. And independents, vote blue. We got to get Trump out. That's all there is to it.
Americans who voted for Donald Trump are already saying they have buyer's remorse. Honestly blows my mind. I mean, I just can't take these people seriously because Donald Trump was as clear as Windex on glass about what his objectives were for the United States of America. Whether it was tariffs, deportations, going against the rule of law, you name it. Tax cuts for billionaires. I mean, Donald Trump was as clear as can be that he was really not for the working class American. Sure, he gave the smoke and mirrors about groceries and gas, but let's be honest here. People are already talking about, I regret my vote. I didn't think he would do this. No, you didn't think it would affect you. You didn't think Donald Trump's actions would negatively affect your bottom dollar. You voted for him because you thought you were above whatever negative policies he enacted. And now you done effed around and found out. But I have not an ounce of sympathy for any of these people talking about their buyer's remorse when the buyer literally told you when you purchased from them what they were going to do and what the product was going to be like. It wasn't like this was some big secret. It was out in plain view.
Hello and what's up, good people? Welcome back to the channel and I hope you're doing great. Now, so in this particular video, this particular video actually tries to highlight what we term as the growing sense of buyer's remorse, amongst voters, and especially MAGA, the MAGA voters, particularly those that voted for Donald Trump in the election of 2024. And this video basically tries to show or argues that voters expected Trump's policies to hurt other people. That's weirdly to hurt other people, but benefit them as the MAGA voting bloc. But now, what we are really seeing is they are facing the harsh negative reality of personal consequences like voting to hurt other people. The same policies are now hurting them. Now, let's continue to watch these videos and we'll be back with a few takeaways.
I'm noticing a common theme with the regretful MAGA voters, and that is that they believed he was going to do all the good shit he said he was going to do, the things they considered good, the economy, stuff like that. And they didn't take him serious with all the bad shit he said he's going to do, especially things that affected him. And I've come to this realization when I watched a video of that Haitian American chef, and then the white dude that lost his fiance, ICE came and grabbed her. Haitian American chef, y'all know I hate raccoons, right? Buddy got on the TV and told you that and said that your people were eating cats and dogs. And he said, I voted for him because he's a businessman. And I thought as a businessman, he told you what he would do. And the funny thing about it is people like me, I think the other way around. I think all the good shit he says he's going to do, he's not going to do it. Because when it comes to finances, the economy, they're here to loot, enrich themselves, tax breaks for the rich. And when it comes to the bad shit, I believe them. In fact, if not for guardrails, they would do more. Because being a conservative in America today, not yesterday, today is inflicting pain on people. That's why you see that redneck Trump supporter saying, oh my God, they're hurting all the wrong people. And then that 70-year-old man, he had himself a little ting, a little bad ting, a little young Latina ting. He's like, I'm a businessman. I mean, they're supposed to be going after the criminals, but they're going after people like, no, they're going after people like her. You thought because you were rich and powerful by proxy, she gets to attach herself to whiteness? No. They dead ass with this shit. Clowns, right? Conflict. They conflict. I remember you was conflicted. Don't regret your vote now. And they just told you.
This is the craziest FAFO I've come across yet. Mario Guerrero is a 3-time Trump voter who owns a construction business in South Texas. And he is curious why his workers are being picked up and detained by ICE. They said they have been raided between 10 to 15 times. They've lost $5.4 million worth of business, and the new subdivision they've been working on that was supposed to be complete in 1 year is now going to take 3. Literally can't make this up. A man voted for Donald Trump 3 times, and his entire workforce is made up of basically undocumented migrants, and he's confused when he saw the mass deportation signs now and that they're coming after his undocumented workers. This might be the best FAFO yet, because how as a Hispanic man do you vote for Donald Trump 3 times as an owner of a construction business in South Texas employing undocumented migrants and then wonder why the leopards ate your face?
I didn't care how things were affecting others until it affected me. Am I proud of that? No. We live in a very cruel world, and sometimes the only way to survive is by being selfish. We are all just out here trying to survive as best we can. And although we may have good intentions and we may be empathetic and we may be compassionate, we will always put ourselves first because we have to survive. And if that means making a mistake in my vote or maybe putting my trust in the wrong person like I did, then that's what it means. I will always put the betterment of my family and vote in ways that I think will help my family above anyone else.
Here's the problem with voting for your self-interest. I understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When you're on the bottom and none of your needs are fulfilled, you can only think of yourself. But here's the problem with that, is you voted for your self-interest. So did everybody else in the Republican Party. Think about that for a minute. You voted for your self-interest, but you don't have anything. Like, you don't have anything. Like, that's what it is. But other people, rich people, they have a lot. So of course they're going to vote for their self-interest because they have something. You don't. You need the tribe, right? The socialized healthcare, the socialized dental care. Schools, firefighters, police officers, all socialized systems. Is it clicking yet? You voted against the tribe. You know, humans didn't make it on their own. We always existed in a tribe, taking care of each other. You could only take care of yourself if you have something, and you don't have shit.
Whoa, boy, farmers are going through it, man. This one's getting it hard. Zero profit last year. In the red means you didn't make money. You worked for free. And this one in Illinois is worried about this year. Check out this farmer in Illinois.
I'm standing on a corn and soybean farm in Hull, Illinois. It's, as you can see, super rural. It's on the Missouri border in southwest Illinois, and it's literally half a world away from the war in Iran. But amid its ripple effects, fourth-generation farmer Rod Bushmeyer and his family already fear ending their second year in a row in the red.
Yeah, you can only do that so many years. Hopefully it's cyclical. You know, we're in a down cycle, and hopefully we'll head up.
He says last year it was the tariffs that did them in, and this year it's the still soaring cost.
This year is not going to get better for farmers because we're in this Iran war. He complains about high diesel cost, high fertilizer cost, also tariffs, also the trade war has ruined relationships. If you didn't know, farm bankruptcies are skyrocketing, farm suicides are skyrocketing, and you know what? They voted for number 47 in his first term, and they got screwed. They got screwed in their first term, and they're voting for him again. So they made no profit last year. They're looking to make no profit this year. Farm bankruptcies are going to skyrocket, and just so you know, this was all in Project 2025, and this was available to farmers as well.
Abdelatif Hafraoui and his wife Sandra voted for Trump 3 times. Now he's being deported. They've changed their mind. To quote Sandra, we thought he was going to go after criminals. We thought he was going after other people. I never thought the leopards would eat my face, sobs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party. He's been held for like 100 days. He's now got an ankle bracelet. They're deporting him. They're huge Trump supporters. He claims he had a screw up where basically he had an attorney who's been thrown in prison now because the attorney was basically cheating all these people, was helping him regularize. He's been in the States for decades, from Morocco, helping him sort of regularize his citizenship, whether green card, whatever it was. And he had an appointment with the immigration folks, didn't show up because his scam lawyer didn't tell him he had the appointment. Well, because he didn't show up, the immigration folks said, you're out of here. They deported him, right? Well, he then comes for some other follow-up meeting and they grab him and they're deporting him. Well, they're all sad now because, again, they thought Trump was going to kick out the Latino criminals, not the Moroccan ones.
My name is Russell Baining.
Hey, Russell.
My family and I farm right south of San Antonio.
Oh, cool. Good for you, sir.
We're buying nitrogen right now, and it's about 40% higher than it was, 2 or 3 months ago, but before the conflict, let's just say that.
Gee, I wonder what happened that would have caused these spikes in prices for you. But, wait a minute. What's this in your background? Because it looks like you're standing with a certain someone that's causing all of the problems right now. But do go on.
Let's be honest about it. Tariffs have caused the price of our inputs to increase.
Are you feeling terrified from tariffs?
If you want to look at it from the 30,000 foot view, agriculture pretty much still trusts this administration. That's still what I hear.
It sounds like Russell has entered the find out phase of FAFO. So here's a bit of a fun fact. During the 2024 election, 444 farming dependent counties voted at nearly 78% for DT. Meaning that a lot of them voted for the policies of this current administration, but are suddenly complaining that they're getting exactly what they voted for. If I voted in favor of such things as like universal health care or like an improved mass transit network, I genuinely would be happy. These farmers over here are complaining about such things as tariffs, the rising cost of diesel, and those immigration raids in which they relied on immigrant labor for. But in conclusion, all I do have to say to Russell is, have the day that you voted for. Bye.
I was definitely, all for Make America Great Again and having a strong, unified country and a bright future for my 5 American children. But now I feel a little differently. I'm a legal resident green card holder. I have been since 1981.
Chris Landry has lived in New Hampshire since he was 3 years old. He has a partner, 5 children, and a job in manufacturing. He was stopped at the border in Holton, Maine on Sunday while returning from a family vacation to Canada.
They pulled me aside and started questioning me about my past convictions in New Hampshire.
3 hours later, the 46-year-old was told he couldn't come home despite having a green card and being a legal U.S. resident. He spoke to us from New Brunswick, Canada.
They denied me re-entry and said, don't come back or we will detain you. And the only way for me to get back in was to see an immigration judge.
Your groceries are about to start acting funny, and it ain't by accident. Right now, 78% of farmers are struggling. And it's not because they forgot how to farm. It's because their fertilizer costs have doubled. And why, you say? Well, because of the war in Iran. See, when the Strait of Hormuz gets locked up and blocked, well, it doesn't just stop the flow of oil. They're also checking off a major route for fertilizer production and transport. Translation, you say? The stuff that helps crops grow has gotten expensive as hell. And see, here's the part people don't talk about. The U.S. imports about 25% of its fertilizer, including 18% of the nitrogen imported. So all that we don't need nobody talk, that sounds cute until your supply chain gets cut off like a bad phone bill. Now you stack that on top of tariffs, trade wars, and rising costs. Farmers are getting squeezed in every direction like toothpaste at the bottom of the tube. And when the farmers struggle, you struggle. Because they don't eat those costs, they pass them on to you. So yeah, elections have consequences. Policy has consequences. War has consequences. But I just want to know, are you tired of winning yet?
The ramifications and the economic shocks that are coming because of this war with Iran are going to be devastating to the United States for years. 30% of the world's fertilizer comes through the Strait of Hormuz. That's 30% of the fertilizer used to grow your food. Everything you eat relies on that fertilizer. It either goes directly into the plants or goes into the plants that then go into the meat that you eat. Either way, the price of that is going to skyrocket. And this is the worst time for that because now is right when farmers are starting to plant their crops and do things like that. So they need those fertilizers. And a lot of small mom and pop farms are probably just going to go out of business because they're not going to be able to afford the fertilizer to plant the crops and grow the crops that they need to sustain their family farm. And the corporate farms will just raise the prices on everything on everyone to cover the cost difference because they don't care. Shareholders got to make their money. Line number must go up. So they don't care. They're going to raise their prices. And this is going to cause a food shock throughout the entire world if they don't get this straight open, well, like a month ago.
This is getting out of control. I just went and put $150 in my hay squeeze. And it barely gave me a quarter tank of diesel. Can't farm much longer like this.
If you say that Trump is a Christian just because he says he's a Christian, you are not doing Jesus or the Bible any favors. If you truly are a Christian and have read the Bible, you would see that in James and in the New Testament, it literally talks about knowing Christians by their fruits and by their works, and that's how you will know if they are a Christian. It literally says people will deceive you by saying I'm a Christian. The term using the Lord's name in vain literally refers to when a person is saying they are a Christian and tricking people that they are a Christian in order to get power or to abuse others or to emotionally manipulate and hurt others. That is what using the Lord's name in vain is. Or like posing with a Bible when you can't even talk about a verse or a chapter in it. Yes, I know Christians believe that anyone can be a Christian and be saved, but the Bible says is that they will repent, they will have a turn of heart, they will turn from their evil ways, and this includes humility and saying sorry and admitting what you have done, and then they will show the fruit of their actions. Trump has not displayed any of that. I am confident in saying he is not a Christian. And if you are still defending him, please look at all of the other evil people who said they were Christians in order to get power and abuse.
And on another episode of Promises Made, Promises Not Kept, Donald Trump just closed the Department of Government Efficiency. You remember DOGE, right? DOGE, the department within the government that was supposed to help us, attack waste, fraud, and abuse. The campaign promises were we were supposed to save $2 trillion every single year. They just closed it. They saved in its entire existence $216 billion, and thanks to the big beautiful bill, we're now spending $1.9 trillion every single year. So instead of saving $2 trillion, we're pretty much spending every single year $2 trillion. So my question to you, MAGA, because unfortunately I did vote for Donald Trump 3 times, and I had to come to the conclusion that this dude has lied through his teeth his entire presidency, and we have been duped. My question to you, outside of the border and outside of this woke stuff, what has Donald Trump done for America? What has Donald Trump done that he promised to do during his campaign? Because in my opinion, Donald Trump is going back on almost everything he said he would do for America. And this is the biggest betrayal in America history. And if you don't see it, my God.
I regret my vote for Donald Trump, and I'm ready to talk about it. When I voted for Donald Trump, I was told that I would lose my rights. I thought that I wouldn't have the right to drive. I thought that somebody would have to be driving me around everywhere. It's not the case. I still have to drive wherever I want to go. That's on me. I was told that it was going to become a communist country. We were going to be told what to wear, how to do our hair, but that didn't happen. I still wake up every day and decide how I want to do my hair. I have to do it. I have to find an outfit every day, which is really time consuming. Is not at all what I was expecting. I thought that was all going to end. I also thought that I was going to get deported. Even though I was born here in the United States of America, I was told that I would certainly be deported. I'm not sure where, but I was hoping it would be some sort of island or somewhere relaxing. Now, I will say I do love my country, so I am not super upset that I'm still here, but all of these things were things that I considered before voting for him. None of those things have happened. I still have all of my rights, and my life is business as usual. In fact, it does feel good to have a little common sense in the air with him as president now, but these are all the things that I thought that I was voting for that I didn't get. Here it is.
August tells me she was raised a lifelong Republican and voted for President Trump in 2024.
At the time, I was in a position to where I wasn't happy with both choices, but for me, I went through the things that were being promised, the things that they have already done, and for me choosing to vote, Republican was the choice that I made, but looking back now, I do regret my decision.
The thing that I find kind of interesting is over the last year and a half, Donald Trump has gotten really, really rich. I mean, in just a year and a half, he's made over $2 billion. I mean, he is raking in the money. And in the meantime, all of those people that supported him and voted for him, they're getting poorer. Yeah, all those people that, tried to help him to the presidency and voted for him, they're broke. They're suffering. They can't make ends meet. And Republicans took away a lot of the benefits they had. Yeah, I mean, their food stamps and cut all kinds of programs and health care and everything. I mean, here these people are suffering. The people that voted for Trump, they are broke and suffering. And he is raking in the billions. And he could care less. And I just find it interesting that all those people that were so behind him and voted for him, they're broke and they're suffering. Meanwhile, he's taking in billions of dollars and laughing at them all the way to the bank. Suckers.
Anytime I hear Michelle or Barack Obama speak, I feel a deep anger, and it's not what you think. I feel a deep visceral reaction to my shame and guilt and just overall FOMO, because I had 2 opportunities to vote for him, and both times I leaned instead on my ignorance and pride and overall, I'm a Republican, and I didn't get a chance to be part of, first of all, voting for arguably one of the most successful presidencies in our lifetime. Second of all, just the collective effervescence, the hope, and overall just goodness that they stood for. And now, more than ever, I am feeling the magnitude of that, because mark my words, I promise you, if you are or already have voted for Trump, you will experience this visceral shame years down the road, because we are facing 2 realities. The first reality is that you vote for Trump and it works and he wins. The second is if you vote for Trump and Kamala wins. And in both realities, you will feel a sense of shame, because if the first one takes place, in the best case scenario, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of how scary this could actually get. This is best case scenario here. He wins, he instills his tariffs and his tax plans that he's been talking about, which will cripple the economy as we know it. The things that you buy today on Amazon, more than likely, they're all coming from overseas. So expect to pay up to 20 to 60% more for everything that's in your current Amazon shopping cart. That is facts. Second of all, if he does go through with his mass deportation plan, that will decimate our economy. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about the rights that will be taken away from women and marginalized communities, since people that are voting for Trump clearly don't care about that anyway and only care about their bank accounts and immigrants, evidently. Remember, these are all best case scenario here. And you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be thinking, oh shit, I did this. I'm responsible for this. Then the other scenario is that you vote for Trump and Kamala wins. She's going to create an economy that's going to embolden the middle class to buy houses, start businesses. She's going to put restrictions on the corporations who currently today, they're the ones that are scooping up all of these single family households the second they go onto the market, and they have cash. Why do you think the market is so distorted right now? It's because it's unnatural. Corporations are one of the #1 homeowners in America because they snatch homes up and then they sell them at a profit, which just then jacks up all of the pricing around in the areas. So Kamala is going to put restrictions on that. She's also going to put regulations as far as your grocery bill and your utility bill and just all around cost of living needs that we have. She's going to put regulations on basic goods for that. She's going to help us. And everything that you guys are complaining about as far as immigration and safety, she's going to put stipulations in place to create a safer border and a more efficient path to citizenships. We'll be living in this economy that you did not vote for, that you did not support, and you're gonna say, oh man, I really regret not voting for her. She was right. She turned it around. You are not just casting a vote, you are helping create a legacy. Which side of history do you want to be on? You don't want to be on the side where I'm at, watching the Obamas making these amazing speeches and doing these amazing things and leaving this awesome legacy and knowing that I was a part of actively voting against it. That sucks. It really sucks. Now, all of this, of course, is provided that you have more emotional intelligence of, say, like a squirrel, and you have basic empathy and self-awareness in which case this all applies. And if you don't, this doesn't apply to you anyway. But if you haven't and are still on the fence about Trump, I promise you, if you vote for him, you're going to regret it. And you're going to have to live with yourself for the rest of your life, knowing that you voted for somebody that destroyed our country.
U.S. farmers are starting to regret their vote for Trump. From beekeepers to soybean to hay producers, all of them are starting to say, I never thought that voting for Trump 3 times would result in me losing tens of thousands of dollars. A beekeeper out of North Carolina says, yeah, I proudly voted for Trump all 3 times. I flew flags for him and put signs for him in the yard. But now I'm out tens of thousands of dollars due to lost federal funding and tariffs, so I cannot export my products, my honey and my wax, to other countries like I could before, and nobody's buying it in the United States. Hay producers in Idaho and Utah that export alfalfa hay to China are now seeing 135% tariffs put on their product, and all of a sudden, they don't have anywhere to ship it. They held it all winter in hopes of sending it off to China in the spring, and now China's not willing to buy. Soybean producers are once again being hit harder than they were in the first Trump administration, and China, for its part, has diversified where it pulls these products from, with Brazil becoming the #1 soybean exporter and other countries picking up the slack for honey, for beeswax, and for hay around the world. Now, China's doing a great job diversifying, and the United States has relied on exports to China for so long that its farmers are going to just continue to suffer. Once again, the majority of them voted for Trump, and now they're finding out.
What a beautiful morning. So grateful that Trump got in office. Life is going to be so much easier again.
A few moments later.
So I just got the quote from the dentist in Mexico I've been looking to go see, because no offense to my current dentist in the United States, I love him. He does a really great job, and I wish I could go to him. I just can't afford dental care in the United States.
Own the libs. Are you winning yet? No, because you played yourself. These are the females who lack the spine and the courage to step into a private voting booth and vote to safeguard their own rights as women. They're so weak that they actively participate in their own downfall, allowing men to use them as tools to strip away their own rights and help strip away the rights of us all as women. This is what happens when you're gullible enough to fall for the conservative patriarchal illusion of a traditional family, where the man is supposed to be the leader, but in reality, that so-called provider is a failure, leaving you, his wife, so financially helpless that you are forced to rely on the very people that y'all demonize and cheer to be deported just to survive. Now look at you, crossing the border into Mexico. Yes, the same Mexico you clutch your pearls over just to be able to afford health care. You're out here bragging about voting for Trump, yet you can't even afford to put America first under Trump. You're out here fighting for white supremacy, but white supremacy ain't fighting for you. Make it make sense. And the best part, this is just a warm-up, so buckle up, because the real struggle hasn't.
All right, welcome back. And from watching these videos, there are a few key takeaways that we could talk about here. The first one being the economic struggle, and many voters are experiencing the impact of an affordability crisis, rather, with the rising cost of grocery prices, inflation affecting especially the middle class and the working white American, or generally the working American. And another one also is the impact on farmers. Agricultural communities are very key, voting bloc, are actually suffering. We have seen them cry, we have seen them complain. They are suffering from tariffs, high cost of production, for example, high costs of diesel, especially now exacerbated with this crisis in the Middle East, and these trade wars that have severely negatively impacted, export relationships, leading to many farms and many farmers actually, and, evidently filing for bankruptcy. These are some of the things we have seen lately happen across, the United States. Now, something else that is being highlighted from these videos is the immigration crisis as well. And these videos, features examples of businesses and individuals who supported Donald Trump, but are now facing the harsh reality of mass deportation themselves, that negatively impact their livelihoods, and labor force. This deportation has also become a very serious crisis when it comes to the labor force in the United States, because a lot of these immigrants, and especially the undocumented ones, were the ones that were being used, especially by these farmers and other businesses, small businesses in the United States of America, to run, And once now they're being deported or facing the threat of deportation, that has actually impacted business and impacted their own lives, Even those that supported Trump, we have a lot of cases of regrets by Latinos for Trump, by Cubanos for Trump, facing the same problem that they thought would not touch them just because they were part of, part of MAGA. And something else is, policy failures, for example. We are highlighting, when we talk about policy failures, we highlight programs that were intended actually, or there was a promise by the government to cut government wastage, like the Department of, Government Efficiency, DOGE, have met zero of their promises, have failed totally, have not met their financial goals, and rather have instead led to the erosion of very essential safety nets for poor communities and support systems for, everyday Americans. We're talking about erosion of, Medicaid, and other safety nets that poor Americans really relied on, And finally, something else that we can highlight from this video is foreign policy, and Trump's involvement, especially in this war in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, and of course the United States of America, and by extension the whole of the Middle East and a little further, that involvement in that conflict has basically diverted a lot of federal resources. And this is something Americans have really been complaining about when it comes to these wars, that a lot of resources are being spent, rather being wasted away to fund wars that Americans do not agree with, or Americans do not see any value in it that is, it's adding to the common American, who is actually the one that is, paying for the taxes. And, what that is actually doing is just, it has driven up domestic gas prices. And not just that, but basically everything else has gone up, because, gas has always that ripple effect on the economy. Once gas prices go up, everything else is affected, These foreign policy issues with this Donald Trump regime have also proven not very friendly to the common American citizen, because he's always engaging in fights with allies and with different countries, and that's making other countries start looking at the United States of America the other way. And we have seen rising blocks where, now the world is trying to align otherwise to, not really look towards the United States like it has always been before, because of the unpredictability of Donald Trump and this regime's policies. And it's frightening away even America's closest allies for ages, And now they're thinking of a life without America as their friend, their defender, the main character. And, that seriously is not what Americans would have loved to see, especially having enjoyed a century of being the superpower, of determining how the world is going to, you know, to work. Yeah. So basically that is my take on this video. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. If you have your, you know, your thoughts, you agree, disagree, share with me your comment, your thought in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like, and kindly subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.